Hello everyone, I hope you are doing fine. And in this video, we will be discussing about the calculation of minority interest. Okay, we'll be talking about the calculation of the minority interest, and we will do it example wise. First of all, the number one example is the basic calculation of minority interest, and the details are given to us as follows. The details are given to us as follows. First of all, the holding company is H Limited, and the subsidiary company is S Limited. Okay. Then it is given that H owns 80% of S Limited. Since the ownership exceeds since the ownership exceeds 50%, hence it is proved that H Limited owns S Limited. S Limited को ऑन कर दिया, ये बात प्रूव. After that, it is given to us that the equity share capital of S Limited is rupees 5 lakhs, and the reserves and surplus of S Limited is rupees 2 lakhs. Now we need to calculate the minority interest. Number one, total equity of S Limited. The total equity of the S Limited is as follows. So total equity is going to be the sum of equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. Okay, which means that the total equity equals to INR 5 lakhs plus INR 2 lakhs, which is equal to INR 7. And moving ahead with the minority interest, of 20%. Minority interest equals the total equity of S Limited multiplied by minority shareholding percentage. That is, the minority interest will be equal to INR 7 lakhs multiplied by 20%. That is equal to rupees 1 lakh 40,000. Okay, this is how the first example goes. But this is the basic calculation, just an idea of how to calculate the minority. Second scenario A comes when example 2. That is the calculation with the profit for the year. Okay, we have given the details in here. What are the details? That the holding company is H Limited, subsidiary company is S Limited. Ownership says that the H holds 75% of S Limited. Equity share capital of S Limited is rupees 6 lakhs, and reserves and surplus of S Limited is rupees 3 lakhs. Okay. Now, the profit for the year is rupees 1 lakh. We need to calculate minority interest. Now here, again, the first point is the total equity of S Limited before profit of the year. So total equity is equal to equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. That means the total equity equals rupees 6 lakhs plus rupees 3 lakhs. That is equal to rupees 9 lakhs. Secondly, the total equity of S Limited after adding the profit. After adding the profit. This is what we have. The total equity is equal to total equity before profit plus profit for the year. That's the total equity equals INR 9 lakhs plus INR 1 lakh. That is equal to INR 10 lakh. And the minority interest equals minority interest minority interest equals total equity of S Limited multiplied by the minority shareholding percentage. Minority interest equals INR 10 lakhs multiplied by the 25%, that is equal to INR 2 lakh 50,000. Now, in the third example third, it says calculation with loss for the year. What we are going to do, or what you are going to do, if there is loss. For that also you have given the details. That as follows. What are those details? That the holding company is H Limited and the subsidiary company is S Limited. H Limited owns 85% of the S Limited. Okay. And the equity share capital of S Limited is rupees 4 lakhs and the reserves and surplus of S Limited is rupees 2 lakhs. Also, the loss for the year is rupees 50,000. And we need to calculate minority interest. How we will calculate the minority interest? First of all, we will find out the total equity of S Limited before loss for the year. Okay. Total equity is equals to the equity share capital plus reserves and surplus, making the total equity is equal to INR 4 lakhs plus INR 2. Okay. Then the total equity of S Limited after deducting the losses, which will be the total equity before loss minus loss for the year. Hence, the total equity will come out as INR rupees 6 lakhs the total equity will be INR rupees 6 lakhs minus the loss of 50,000, which will be equivalent to INR 5 lakh 3,000. Okay. And in the third step, we will calculate the minority. Now, minority interest is equal to total equity of S Limited multiplied by minority shareholding percentage. Minority shareholding percentage, which says that the minority interest is equal to INR 5 lakh 50,000 multiplied by 15%. That is equal to 82,500. Okay. Now, let us move with the example number 4. Calculation with dividend pay. How will we calculate it if there is dividend? Again, the scenario is going to be the same. We have been given the details, and the details follows as that holding company is X Limited, subsidiary company is S Limited, H Limited owns 70% of the S Limited equity share capital of S Limited is rupees 8 lakhs. Reserve and surplus of S Limited are rupees 4 lakhs The dividend paid are rupees 1,20,000. So basically, we have to calculate the minority interest. So again, the first step is going to be the same. That is the total equity of S Limited before dividends. That is the total equity equals to the equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. Hence, the total equity will be 8 lakhs plus 4 lakhs. That is these 12. Then the total equity of S Limited after deducting the dividends. After deducting the dividends. There, the total equity is equals to the total equity before dividends minus dividends paid. So the total equity is equals to INR 12 lakhs minus INR 1,20,000. That is equal to INR 10 lakh. Okay. Hence, the next step comes as for the calculation of the minority interest. And the minority interest at 30%. Here, the minority interest is equal to total equity of S Limited multiplied by minority share holding percentage. Minority interest is equals to rupees 10,80,000 multiplied by 30%. That is equal to 3,24,000. In the last scenario, that is the last example for this video, is example number 5. And here the details are as follows. Holding company is H Limited. Subsidiary company is S Limited. H owns 65% of S Limited. Equity share capital of S Limited is rupees 10 lakh. Reserves and surplus of S Limited is rupees 5 lakhs. Profits for the year are rupees 2 lakhs. Loss from the previous year is rupees 1 lakh, and dividend paid is rupees 50,000. Now we need to calculate the minority. Okay. So very first step is to calculate the total equity of S Limited before adjustments, which is the total equity equals equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. Because the total equity is equals to INR 10 lakhs plus INR 5 lakhs, which is equals to INR 15 lakhs. Secondly, adjust for profit of the year. Total equity before adjustments plus profit for the year. Total equity equals to INR 15 lakhs plus INR 2 lakhs, that is equals to INR 17 lakhs. Then third is the adjustment for loss from any previous year. Now in this we'll see if there is loss in the previous year. Here the total equity is equal to total equity after profit minus loss from the previous year. That is the total equity is equals to INR 17 lakhs minus INR 1 lakh is equals to INR 16 lakhs. Adjust for the dividend paid. If you have paid any dividend, then you should subtract this. That is the total equity equals the total equity after loss minus any dividend paid. Then the total equity will be INR 16 lakhs minus INR 50,000, that is equal to INR 16 lakh 50,000. Minority interest calculation. And this will be for the 35 year. Minority interest is equal to total equity of S Limited multiplied by the minority shareholding percentage. Minority interest is equal to INR 15 lakh 3,000 multiplied by 35%, which is equal to INR 5 lakhs 42,500. And this will be the total amount of the minority interest. So these are the five cases and the various examples from where you can calculate the minority interest. I hope you have understood this calculation of the minority interest. I have tried to go very thoroughly in this. Thank you so much and see you guys in my next one.